Right. So today we're going to really dig into this Walmart annual report, the 2024 one. Imagine like you're prepping for a meeting, all about retail trends, and you need to sound really smart.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you're just like super curious about how like a giant company like this is doing in this crazy economy.
Yeah.
Either way, we're going to break it all down for you.
Yeah.
We'll hit the highlights, the stuff that like really matters. Business performance, financials, future outlook, and of course, the competition. Oh, and before we get started, the standard disclaimer.
Right.
This is not financial advice. We're just here to explore, analyze.
Yeah.
Not tell you what to do with your money.
Exactly.
Okay, so one of the first things that like jumps out at me is this 6% revenue growth. I mean,
Yeah.
for a company the size of Walmart, that's not easy to pull off. And get this, their e-commerce sales alone hit $100 billion. That's a pretty clear sign that they're not just a brick-and-mortar giant anymore, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's a significant figure, especially in the current economic climate, I mean. A lot of retailers are struggling, with inflation, supply chain issues. This suggests that Walmart might have some strategic advantages, maybe in their supply chain management or their ability to adapt to, changing consumer behavior.
Yeah, adapting, that's key. And speaking of changing consumer behavior, I noticed this 200 basis point increase in returns. And that makes me wonder, does this tell us something about their product mix? Are they maybe attracting more price-conscious shoppers who are just like more likely to return things? Or could this be like supply chain challenges leading to, more damaged goods?
That's a really interesting point. A jump in returns could be interpreted in several ways. It's not necessarily a negative sign. It could indicate they're drawing in a broader customer base, even if those customers are more sensitive to, price fluctuations. But it's definitely something to watch, especially in relation to their profit margins.
For sure, for sure. Okay, now this one really caught my eye. 20% increase in membership income. It seems like their membership program is like really gaining traction. Could this be Walmart's answer to Amazon Prime? Creating a loyal customer base with that sweet recurring revenue?
Yeah, I think the trend of subscription models is definitely something Walmart is tapping into. They're leveraging their massive customer base and their brand recognition to create a new revenue stream. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out in the long term and how it compares to programs like Amazon Prime in terms of, the benefits and customer retention.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's talk bottom line here. They reported a 32% surge in operating income. Now, I'm not a financial whiz or anything, but that sounds like a pretty healthy jump.
It is.
What's the significance of this number? What does it tell us about their overall financial health?
Well, operating income is a key indicator of profitability because it strips away things like taxes and interest expenses, and it really focuses on the core business operations. This surge suggests they're managing costs effectively and becoming more efficient. It'll be important to see if they can maintain this level of growth, of course. But it's a very positive sign.
Very positive. And speaking of positive signs, 28% growth in advertising revenue. Seems like they're positioning themselves to become a serious player in the advertising world, huh?
Absolutely. They sit on a mountain of data about consumer behavior, which is incredibly valuable to advertisers. Think about it. They know what people are buying when they're buying it and how much they're willing to spend. This makes them a very attractive platform for targeted advertising, especially as they continue to build out their online presence.
Yeah, that makes sense. And let's not forget about their financial firepower. They generated a massive $36 billion in operating cash flow, which gives them a lot of flexibility to invest and expand, right?
Right.
What are some of the ways they might leverage this financial strength?
Well, this cash flow puts them in a very strong position. They can invest in new technology like automation and robotics to further optimize their supply chain. They can expand their footprint, either physically or digitally, or they could even choose to return value to shareholders through dividends or stock buybacks. The possibilities are vast.
Vast indeed. So we've seen some impressive numbers. But what about their plans for the future? How are they thinking about staying ahead of the curve in an industry that's changing so rapidly? I mean, everyone's talking about AI, automation, personalized shopping. It seems like the retail landscape is undergoing a complete transformation.
You're absolutely right, and the report actually addresses this head-on. They're placing a heavy emphasis on leveraging technology, particularly in areas like data analytics, machine learning, and robotics. They seem to understand that these advancements are going to be key to their success moving forward.
That's interesting. Can you give us some concrete examples of what this might look like in practice?
Certainly on the customer-facing side, I think we'll see a lot more personalization. Driven by AI, think about tailored recommendations, targeted promotions, even like personalized shopping lists generated through their app or website. It's all about creating a more seamless and convenient shopping experience for the customer.
Makes sense. But what about behind the scenes? How are they using tech to, like, streamline their operations?
Well, think about warehouse robots that can optimize, inventory management and delivery routes. This leads to faster delivery times, reduced costs, and ultimately greater efficiency across the board. They're also using data analytics to better understand consumer demand and adjust their inventory accordingly.
So it's about working smarter, not harder.
Exactly. Walmart is using technology to enhance their efficiency and ultimately deliver greater value to their customers. But let's not forget about the competition. I mean, Amazon is the obvious giant in the room. But there are other players too, like Target, Costco, even grocery chains like Kroger that are stepping up their game. So how is Walmart thinking about maintaining its position in this increasingly competitive market?
That's a good question. The competition is fierce, and it seems like everyone is vying for a bigger slice of the pie. What are some of Walmart's key advantages in this battle?
Well, one of their biggest advantages is simply their scale. They have a massive network of stores, a well-established supply chain, and a huge customer base. They can leverage the scale to offer competitive pricing and a wide selection of products. And they're not just relying on their existing strengths, they're also investing heavily in their own private label brands, offering high-quality products at lower prices, which puts pressure on their competitors.
So it's not just about competing on price. They're also trying to differentiate themselves through their own product offerings. But what about their online presence? Can they really compete with Amazon on that front?
It's a challenge, but they're making progress. Remember that $100 billion figure for e-commerce sales? They're clearly not ignoring the online space. And they have a unique advantage, the physical stores. They can use these stores as fulfillment centers, enabling faster delivery times and more convenient pickup options for customers.
So they're trying to bridge the gap between the physical and digital worlds, creating a more seamless experience for shoppers who want the best of both worlds.
Exactly. They're also diversifying their business, They're expanding into new categories like healthcare and financial services, offering services like telehealth appointments and money transfers.
It sounds like they're trying to create a kind of ecosystem for their customers, offering them a one-stop shop for all their needs.
You could say that. It's a bold strategy, and it remains to be seen how successful it will be. But it shows that they're not afraid to experiment and innovate.
Speaking of innovation, they also highlighted their commitment to sustainability in the report. We touched on Project Gigaton earlier. But what other initiatives are they undertaking to reduce their environmental impact?
Well, they're transitioning to renewable energy sources to power their facilities. They're working with suppliers to reduce packaging waste, and they're implementing circular economy principles to minimize their reliance on virgin materials.
So they're really trying to walk the walk when it comes to sustainability, not just talks the talk.
Absolutely. They understand that sustainability is not just good for the planet, it's also good for business. Consumers are increasingly demanding it, and it can lead to cost savings and efficiencies in the long run.
This deep dive has been really insightful. We've uncovered a lot about Walmart's current performance, their strategic priorities, and how they're positioning themselves for the future.
It's clear that Walmart is a company in motion, constantly adapting to changing circumstances and looking for new opportunities to grow and evolve.
But before we wrap things up, there's one more aspect we need to explore: Walmart's global footprint. When we come back, we'll delve into their international operations and examine how they're navigating the complexities of the global marketplace. But welcome back. So we've been really digging into Walmart's performance and strategies here in the U.S. But there's this whole other piece to the puzzle, their global reach. They're not just a U.S. company anymore. They're operating in all sorts of markets all around the world.
That's right. And this international presence isn't just about, replicating their U.S. model. They're having to adapt to different cultures, regulations, and
consumer preferences.
Yeah, I'm really curious about those adaptations. Can you give us some examples of how they're tailoring their approach for different markets?
Take India, for instance. There they partnered with local Kirana stores, these small mom-and-pop shops, weaving them into their supply chain and leveraging their established customer relationships. It's a very different approach than just building massive supercenters. Yeah, that's a smart way to tap into an existing network. It seems like they're really prioritizing understanding the nuances of each market.
Absolutely. And they're also making significant investments in e-commerce platforms in countries like China and Mexico, where online shopping is just booming.
So they're balancing the brick-and-mortar presence with digital expansion, but in a way that reflects each region's unique trends.
Exactly. It's a complex dance, but it speaks to their commitment to growth on a global scale.
Well, this deep dive into Walmart's annual report has been incredibly revealing. We've seen their impressive financial performance, their strategic investments in technology, their focus on people, and their commitment to sustainability.
It's clear that Walmart is a company that's constantly evolving, adapting to changing market conditions and pushing the boundaries of what's possible in retail.
And that leaves us with a final thought-provoking question for you to ponder. How will Walmart shape the future of retail, not just in the U.S., but globally? What role will they play in how we shop, how goods are produced and delivered, and even how technology impacts the consumer experience? It's a fascinating question to consider, and hopefully this deep dive has given you some valuable insights to fuel that reflection. Thanks for joining us.